What's going on, everybody? So I think I need to back up a little bit and talk about the whole idea. And I put it down here. The reason why is this whole thing is about the anti-hero project, the anti-hero clinic. It's about people who need to be the hero of their own stories. And so me just kind of walking into this purpose of not just speaking, guys. It's more than just that. Yesterday I talked about the idea of reiterating your personal brand, who you are, what you stand for, what your promise is. For those of you that haven't watched any of the brandable minute stuff, it's really been talking about my journey and looking at let me see if I can find it for you. Just going through my black books, going through my black books, sharing what I've learned, sharing what I've experienced, and understanding that a lot of us won't gain new insight, new wisdom, or maybe even just go to another level until we actually just release what we held on to for so long, things that we've learned. So I've been doing that, and you understand that a brand is a set of stories, memories, expectations, and relationships. It causes you to buy something, a product or service, over another one, time and time again. That's what it is. So that's really what a brand is. That's why it's so abstract and so ethereal. This whole process that we're talking about, starting over again, creating a new you, reinventing yourself, it's really along the same lines. And so for the anti-hero, this is the person who has either misappropriated their gifts for selfish gain, the person who's made mistakes, the person who has made poor decisions, and now they feel that they cannot live purposefully anymore. If you are that person, then that's who this series is for. It's the person who, you want to start fresh. And so this is just a different perspective on how to do that. So the site isn't up yet. I mean, it's up, but you probably got to go on there and probably put your email in and it'll take you to a landing page. But the point is this, guys, that's what this is all about. This is all about you being able to start afresh, but from a biblical perspective and with some practicality. So on day one of this New You series, what we tackled was the void. We said that the void isn't just something that you stumble across. It's not like now you want to start over and you come across darkness, and no, it was actually placed there. So we looked at verse 1 of Genesis 1. God created all of the elements of earth, the elements of heaven, which is water, atmosphere, and all of that. And he put it all together so that when we choose to begin again, we realize there is a God-shaped void that only he can fill. And what he does next is he doesn't immediately address the void. He creates the awareness. And so that's where light comes in. So you want to start over, but it's a mess. It's a hot mess, but it's God's mess because he created the chaos before he created the cosmos. And it's just a part of the process, right? So it's a hot mess process, and the light is shed. The light is shed on the issue. You are now becoming aware. And it says that God separated light from darkness. He didn't throw the darkness away. He identified what was light and what was dark. Now, we aren't trying to say that dark is bad in this situation. It might be. It might be some things that you don't like about yourself. But what it is this idea of identifying what is what. Identify your challenges. Identify what is in your past that's causing you to still behave the way that you're behaving now. Identify some of the poor time management habits, or the toxic relationships, or the person or people that are on your job that's just driving you crazy. And it's probably not them, but it's you and your insecurity. Like whatever it is, you identify it and you separate those things. What's light? What's dark? And so that way you can now understand and properly identify what really is the void. So when you look at that, we had the void, the light, and then there is the vault. The vault is separating the sky from the seas. It's separating the waters from the waters. So when you really think about it, the sky is water. So in scripture, it's heaven, and heaven means water. It's just atmosphere, but there are different layers of it. And so we took a look at that and what that meant. And so this vault, which also is called heaven, heaven separates sky from sea. It's interesting. It's interesting how it's developed. But here's the point, guys. The point is this. As these things are separated, we then talk about boundaries. Okay, so you identify some challenges, some issues, maybe some things that you don't like, maybe things that you do like, your strengths, your weaknesses, light, dark, right? But then you have to create boundaries for yourself. You're going to start over. That's cool. But there's some things that you're going to need to do. There's some things that you're going to stop doing. You have to be able to do that. If you do not, your sky is going to look like your sea, and your sea is going to look like your sky. And so even God himself separated some things before moving forward. Okay, and then he said, I got the sky from the sea. I created the boundary. But now I want to create another boundary, but it's not creating a boundary as much as it is revealing a foundation. He says, let the land appear. So he gathers the sea all together. The land was already there. For a lot of us that are starting over, reinventing yourselves, you don't have to search that far in order to find your original foundation. God has already placed it there. Most times he's probably placed the breadcrumbs in front of you to gather together so that you can understand, oh, wow, the answer is here. This is who I am all this time. This is the rock. This is the foundation that I need to stand on. Okay, so what does that foundation look like? Well, it can be anything. So for a lot of us that are highly productive, routine is a foundation. Right. So don't just think of foundation, though, as habits. Think of your foundation as your character, who you are. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. With the foundation, he then added vegetation on top of it. He added roots that bear fruit. Now, it's one thing to have a foundation, but if the foundation doesn't produce anything, that's a problem. So you now have to develop these let's call them characteristics, these habits, this idea of being fruitful on top of, so there's some people who, you probably respect, but you've never really seen anything produce out of them. I'm not going to call any names because I can't really think of anybody right now. And if I can't, maybe it's me. The point is this: you just don't want to have a strong foundation. You need to be able to put and to gather and to produce something out of it. So oftentimes those things are habits. Now, I know I did say habits, can be considered the foundation, but no, the foundation is really your character, the vegetation, the things that other people will benefit from. Those are the things, your habits, your mindset. I think we talked about that yesterday when we said, okay, what does the root really mean? The way that you can start changing particular things that you don't like, or even reaffirming, strengthening the things that you do like, is finding out the root in the foundation. So I told you I was hitting 58 burpees today. 59 was hard today. Like I literally was like, oh my God. And the reason why it was so difficult was because even though, we found the root, I said that it was late school. And so because of the finishing the assignments late, procrastination was the reason why I finished it late. Procrastination led to, I think it was like the fear of achievement. Like it all went up to like the very mindset of, man, this thing is tough and I don't know if I'm going to make it. Like, guys, I'm almost done. I keep saying there's like 4 weeks left of school, but it's like 2 now. So it's the mindset. Oh my God, I feel like I still have like a whole lot of time left in school. I really don't. I'm almost done. And I got an A, y'all. Like, listen, I'm killing the game. I'm kidding. My ear is itching me. I don't know why. I'm killing it. Like when I say I'm killing it, I'm 4.0 killing it. Why am I so stressed? Why am I so stressed? We almost done out here. So all of that, the lack of sleep, all of that affected something else. I had to find the root. That's what I'm talking about. So you've got your foundation. That's cool. But for the stuff to start producing, you're going to start looking at the stuff that's coming out of the foundation. What kind of stuff is coming up? So for me, yesterday in the morning, even though I had a routine and I'm getting it right, you got a strong foundation. Yeah, that's cool. Your boy struggled at number 58. Why? Because of all of the other stuff underneath that I wasn't paying attention to. So it's very intentional now, for me to do specific things so that I can make sure that my routine in the morning is strong. And that's going to happen. Listen, you will have this tension when you start to shift and when you start to change the stuff that used to work, you realize doesn't work anymore. And you start to push back against it. You start to feel this tension and it's going, and that's good. That's healthy. That means that there is a growth mindset. That means that there is a shift that is happening. All right. So let's keep it rolling. So we talked about the foundation. We talked about the land. We talked about the roots. Okay, so today we are hitting on the delegates. This is gonna blow your mind. Maybe it's not gonna blow your mind, but it's gonna blow my mind. I say it's gonna blow my mind like it hasn't already, but it's gonna, again, because we're about to get back into it. So this idea that God formed first. So let's break this down. God formed the earth, and then He filled the earth. Day 1, light, darkness. Day 2, sky from seas. Day 3, land from sea, right? So he separated some stuff. He formed some stuff. On the other side, day 4, he filled the earth with Oh, hold on. I'm tripping. Hold on. Let me just double check. Day 4. Oh, he created the lights. So you remember in day 1, it was light from darkness, but in day 4, he created sun, moon, and stars. So he created the greater lights to rule the day, lesser light to rule the night. Okay. And then here's the crazy thing. In day 5, you remember day 2, sky, sea, day 5, birds and fish. So now he's creating these delegates to just run the sky and the sea. Day 6, you remember for day 3, we had sea and land. So day 6, he created animals and he created humans. And with that, I had to look at this infogram because, man, my mind is all over the place. They also occupy the land as well. So this is the cool thing. This is what I think is so cool. God could have set up this whole thing where he was the one running it, where every day he would wake up. I mean, not that God has to wake up per se, right? But every day, God is God. He don't need no rest, which is cool because we're gonna go to the next one, which is why, next one is like, y'all just need to chill. That's the rest one, right? That's tomorrow. Let's make that for tomorrow. He could have set everything up himself and ran it himself, but he decided not to do that. He said, I'm going to allow the sun, moon, and stars to run, to rule, to handle the light and the dark identification that I've already set up on day 1. I'm going to set the birds and the fish in the air and for them to multiply. As a matter of fact, I'm going to bless them. That's going to be the first part of the creation that I'm going to bless. Y'all read it. He blesses them. And he says, multiply, occupy the earth. Well, no, occupy the sky and sea. No, you're lame. And then he creates animals and humans on day 6. And he tells the humans, hey, listen, Adam, right? He says, listen, I want you to be fruitful, multiply, have dominion, right, over the earth. I want you to cultivate the earth. That's your work. That's your job. I want you to do that. But here's the thing, guys. This is what I find interesting. So now, even though we have this occupants and like, yes, humans are the ones that are supposed to rule. That's cool. But there's a king of the jungle right now, right? There's a king of the sea right now. Like there are delegates right now that run things, even though we are technically supposed to be running things. But right now, you go into the jungle right now, I guarantee you ain't running nothing. Okay. So maybe in the beginning, ideally that was supposed to be the case. But the point is this, I'm trying to tell you that God first formed an establishment. He created the stuff, he put them in order. And then he said, I'm going to now create things. I'm going to create people to run what I've established. What does that mean for you? That means that you can't be new by yourself. You can't be new by yourself. There are things that you have to do for you. You got to set your routines, right? You got to do time management. You got to work on your mindset. All of the stuff, all of the Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, you can name them. You can name all of the motivational speakers. You can name all of the mindset people that you want to talk about. Yeah, that work you have to do for yourself. Sun, moon, and stars can't do it for you. Animals can't do it for you. Birds can't do it for you. Fish can't do it for you. Other people can't do it for you. Those are the things that you need to do for yourself. You need to learn how to identify your own lightness from your own darkness, whether that's strengths, weaknesses, whether that's past versus present. You have to start identifying things in your life, right? Separating them. Like I said, it doesn't mean it's terrible or bad. You just need to know what it's light and what is dark. Then you need to figure out what boundaries are you going to set. Sky from sea, like what's the vault that I'm capping over this? How far is my limit going to be? You set all of that stuff up. And then when you transition over to day 4, 5, and 6, it's like, now who can I find or what can I find to establish? All right. So I think I'm playing games. I always bring this up, but this right here is like my sun, moon, and stars to rule the day and to rule the night. I have a planner. It's not just any old planner. It's a focus planner. And I'm not selling this to y'all because, quite frankly, I can't even afford it myself. The point is this. Every quarter, I get a planner that's shipped to me that helps me to identify what is important. That's my light and that's my dark. And hey, for those of y'all that are watching, feel free to throw in the comments too. Like, what are the ways that you identify? What are the ways that you actually start forming your newness? How do you reinvent who you are? Okay, so that's one of the things that I do. I have to live and die by this, guys. If I don't do this in the beginning of the week, it's rough. The week feels like it's so not unhinged, but just Unfocused. It's funny because this is called the full focus planner. It's just so like, oh my goodness, what am I doing with my day? Mind you, I'm doing work, but because I haven't established it in the beginning, because I hadn't separated what's important from what's not important, light from dark, oh man, it's almost like a chore. It's almost as if I feel like I'm distracting myself, even though I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. Light from dark. Boundaries. Listen, you're in a new space. I'm in a new space right now as well, where especially it's going to be necessary for me to find the right people, find the right places. Okay, I got a good one for you. Okay, so one of the things right now that I'm doing to finish helping, well, you know, that's probably not a good idea. I think that's probably in like day 4. I was going to talk about my portfolio and how I'm finishing that, but I have somebody who's in my corner to help me to complete that. I think that's day 4. That's like finding the delegates and the people who's going to help you do that thing. As you can see, I'm kind of like working this thing out as we talk. But let me see here. I'm talking about the vault. Yeah, you just got to find some people. Listen, 2020, I've made friends, and I don't want to say lost, but I have repurposed. I've redesigned people in my life, circumstances in my life to either help use it as a stepping stone or as a catalyst. And it's very interesting that I use the word catalyst. I had a friend who told me, listen, you need to see certain things in your life as a catalyst, like what happened had to happen to get you to where you are right now. And that was so difficult to hear at first, but then I received that because, man, for a lot of us who are high achievers, you're probably also an overthinker. And it's so funny, right? Because you have analysis paralysis, but yet you don't at the same time, because you always think about what else you could have done or what more you could have done. The point is that you have to even create, perhaps, and that's what I had to do for myself and continue having to do for myself, is create even boundaries over how far you're going to go to thinking about certain things. That is a type or a style, a type of boundary. You know, there's some things that you just need to cap. I have no idea where this no cap came from. I'm not talking about that kind of no cap. You need a cap. You need a vault over that joint. You need to separate the boundaries. Okay. I got to work on that one because, you know, we're talking this out loud. And so that's why it's like this. But the third one, which is, because we're talking practical here, so I'm just using my own personal life. The third one is the foundation. That one's easy. We're talking about particular habits. Well, not just habits, but characteristics. But your habits eventually craft or create characteristics, like who you are. So there's this mixture of having a better routine in the morning. But then I started to realize if I don't have a good night routine, my morning routine is going to suck. So that's what we're talking about with the roots and the vegetation on top of that foundation. My foundation is my devotional life. Like that is one of the core things. But I also realized that having a personal devotional life is cool, but you also need, and I know for a lot of us in COVID-19 work from home culture, it's a little bit different, but you have to also have an external group of people, external group. You need a group of people, right? And I think that that's also important too. So there's a balance. I think it's Luke 2:52. Jesus grew in favor and stature with God and man. God is cool. I mean, God is everything. It's not just cool, but you got to have people. You got to have people in your corner. So I think that that's something that I've also been, or at least attempted to be more intentional about. Facebook is deceptive. That does not mean, and I'm glad that I was able to start establishing this before I got back on social media, because it will make you think that you got a lot of people in your corner, or vice versa. Because they'll remind you about birthdays, they'll remind you about life events, they'll show you. There's a lot of, I think, baby pictures that are going around now, which is pretty cool, and I think that's very celebratory. So they'll show you a lot of stuff, and it'll make you feel as if you are a part of those people's lives when you are, but for a microsecond, a micro moment, and even if it's a memory from like 5 years ago and it pops back up, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. And it's all of these series of micro moments, I'm thinking out loud here, so bear with me, that make you feel as if you have one big mass of relationship, but you don't. You just have these micro moments that feel so stimulated, right? Because it's just happening, boom, 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 boom. Everybody's in the timeline. And, or, you know, whether if it's Instagram, whether if it's Facebook, you're just scrolling, and it makes you feel as if you know these individuals, or vice versa, but you really don't. So I would challenge you, I would encourage you to do that. So even though I didn't realize that I did, I've done the work being offline to an extent of trying to rebuild and trying to reconnect with those people that really do matter. So that is important. And I think that if I didn't do that, man, the last part of this year would have been so rough, because when things happen, things get turned upside down and you realize, man, who am I? Or who's left? You start to realize who really is the true people in your life. So then we talk about the delegates, days 4, 5, and 6. We just lump them all together because in a sense, they're all doing the same thing: occupy, rule, and multiply, right? And so, yeah, guys, that's it. So I'm here. Let me know if before I log off, before I sign out of this one, how do you feel? What do you think? What are your thoughts? I think there's only like 2 people watching right now, but you might watch this later on. And so, just drop something in the thing. I'm trying to avail myself more, especially online, so that we can have more genuine connection. So yeah, let me know. Let me know what y'all think, guys. I am here. I'll be here for just a little bit longer, just kind of make this awkward silence, practical. Any questions? Any thoughts? Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about rest. Rest your mind. God rested too. Just rest yourself. But we're not talking about that today. That's tomorrow. Okay. I think we got somebody new on. So just a recap for those who are still on and for those who just came on, this is all about figuring out, as the anti-hero of your life, how to become the hero again. That's how come I got the link down there. Link is down there because I really want people to understand. I really want people to accept the fact that yes, life is not perfect, but it's also not too late to live on purpose again. And you do that by starting over. Oftentimes you have to start over. Some people, you don't need to start over. You just pick up from where you left off. But for those of us that have started over, there's some things that you got to do. You got to identify light from dark. And you know what? This might be a devotional. Who knows? Because at the end of the day, if you just have a set of practical steps, and I'm beginning to realize that even for some of us, it seems so easy, like, oh yeah, you just do 1, 2, 3, 4. Man, it's not easy. Some of us don't think that way. And I think that's why these kind of resources are still useful for today, so that's number 1. Number 2, sometimes you just need people to hold you accountable, Yeah. All right. Listen, y'all be great. I'm out of here. I'm going to work on the brandable minute for the next for LinkedIn. But I appreciate y'all rocking it out with me. I don't think I'm going to do any more. Well, I say this now, but series per se. But we'll find something else, because after tomorrow, that's it. I think that's it for this one. And then we'll transition out, guys. So be encouraged. If you have any questions, I will try my best to give you some answers. But at the end of the day, guys, it's really starting at the very beginning, knowing that God is the one who set all of this in motion. He already knew, KNEWU, before you decided to be a new NEWU. So I'll holler at y'all. See you in the next